So another video about shitty music. Music getting shittier, right? You know what's even worse? They're making the good music shittier. All the great music that you and I both love, if you listen to it on the radio or through Sirius a lot of times, or wherever you're listening to your music outside of a CD or good quality download, they're basically, and they're doing this on several of the stations here in Detroit, stereo is dead. We no longer like stereo. We're back to mono. You want to know why? Because you guys all have your little one speaker that you use with your phones and everything else. So now what the fuck? Why even bother putting it in stereo, right? And I noticed this not long ago. I was listening to a Guns N' Roses song on the radio, and then there's a part in there where you can only hear it if it's in stereo. And if it's not in stereo, like, you can barely hear the part. And Guns N' Roses has a couple of songs like that off their Use Your Delusion CDs or whatever. That's where I noticed it, and I'm like, wait a minute. And sure enough, yeah, they've basically, you know, stereo is dead, mono's the new thing, you know, which is just absolutely ridiculous. No surprise though, right? I mean, the shit that's going on in the world today, why should that be a surprise that we're going backwards, you know? Unbelievable. And speaking of which, going backwards, I was just having a conversation with a business associate, and we were talking about yeah, what do you want to do, dude? We're talking about Israel, and you know, and I've said many times I'm not going to blindly support Israel, you know, and I don't. You know, there is a genocide going on towards the Palestinian people right now. It's exactly what Adolf Hitler did to the Jews, they are now doing to the Palestinians. It's like I wonder sometimes if it's their way of getting back. You know, why didn't they take over Germany? Why aren't they, you know, nope, and basically what this is saying to the world, as far as the United States is concerned, because we all support Israel no matter what, basically what it's saying to the world is, you know, and Israel is saying to the world in the United States by blindly supporting Israel, which I know it's not blindly, but we're definitely behind them, is that they want to kill all the Arab nations, all the Arab people. Now, I've had friends of mine talk about this mayor in Dearborn. Dearborn is right next door to where I live. Dearborn is another suburb of Detroit. I've mentioned it in the past. It's the largest population of Lebanese people and other Arab people, but mostly Lebanese, majority Lebanese, then others mixed in the United States by a long shot. Always has been. They have a mayor there who is, frankly, he's gone over the line for me, because he seems like he's pretty extreme. He seems like I don't know, he's just, you know, back when people were Islamophobes, I was talking to you guys about how, you know, well, I've lived right outside of Dearborn my entire life. There's never been, you know, the crime rate's low, the housing market's high, good schools, good neighborhoods, good everything, clean. And it's crazy because it's literally, and I'm going to do this video. I hope maybe I'll even shoot it today on my way home, because I'd like to take you guys down Joy Road. There's a part of Joy Road that separates Dearborn and Detroit, and you will be shocked when I show you the video footage of this side of Joy Road versus that side of Joy Road. One side's Dearborn, the other side is Detroit. So I've always said, you know, thank God for the Lebanese population in Dearborn, otherwise it would just be another part of shithole Detroit. And the majority of the people in Dearborn are good people. There's, like I said, it's low crime for a city of that population, and it's a good community, great community. White people live in that community too. Black people live in that community. I mentioned Indian people live in that community. All types of people live in Dearborn, but the majority of them are Lebanese. Unfortunately, they have a mayor, and I don't know all the details on this, and I really shouldn't speak out of pocket on it, but I caught a few clips, and it sounds like he's an asshole. I don't know that I disagree with what he's doing, but he sounds like a prick, because he basically told somebody that they can move out of the city of Dearborn if they don't like it. Part of it was a mosque that is waking people up at 6:30 in the morning, call for prayer. And if you know anything about the Middle East and Muslim tradition, they pray 5 times a day. And in Dearborn there are mosques, although very few of them have called to prayer over a loudspeaker. And apparently it's loud enough where it's disrupting other people. And that's what they came to City Hall. They said, "Hey, listen, man, this is bullshit. I'm all for you praying, and I'm fully in support of you being whatever religion you want to be, but I don't want to be waking up. I don't want to be awoken at 6:30 in the morning every morning by this really loud call to prayer for this mosque," which I don't think is, hey, if I lived there, I wouldn't be happy about it either. And part of it was that mayor told that, then you should just move out of the city of Dearborn. No, fuck you. We have freedom of religion in this country, okay? And that's, but you don't have the freedom to push your religion on anyone else. So, you can pray to whatever you want to pray to in the United States. But, you don't get to, say, well, too bad. It's going to be this and that's it. So anyway, that was part of it. And I don't blame the community for being upset with that. I mean, the Muslim community, I don't know whether I'm sure there were some of them that weren't too thrilled about it either, because let's face it, most of them don't get up, don't pray 5 times a day the way they should, just like I'm not the Christian I should be, right? Just like I'm not the Catholic I should be. So that was part of it. And the mayor, he honestly sounded like an asshole. So, but a couple of buddies of mine, or not a couple, but one of them thought that it was like really extremism, and I don't know whether it is or not. I haven't really heard much, living right next door to Dearborn, I haven't really heard much about this whole thing. In fact, my buddy in North Carolina knows more about it than I do, and I live like literally right outside the community. Like 5 minutes down the road, I'm in Dearborn. So I don't know if it's just one of those things where they're just focusing your attention on one thing so they can stick it in your ass on the other. Which brings me back to the conversation I was having with a business associate this morning. The other conversation we were having, which was someone that she's close to said that they were in support of Trump running for another term. I said, look, that's not gonna happen. It doesn't mean he might not try to do it, right? But it's not gonna happen. And her big thing right now today was women's rights, and women are dying, and this girl just died on the sidewalk in Georgia because she couldn't she was having a miscarriage, and they wouldn't give her an abortion. And I don't doubt that happened. And she's telling me, the mortality rate is going up, or going down, however you want to look at it. And all of this is going on, and all these women are dying and everything else. And I said, okay, I don't doubt that, but based on what? How do you know this hasn't been going on all along, and they're just getting your attention focused on it today? Because odds are it's been going on all along. But because, there's a bunch of people on the left that are, they want abortion to be, like getting a tattoo, they're just getting your attention focused on it because they want you to be upset about it, I mean, that's what the media is all about, and that's what the politicians are all about. And like I told her, I don't believe anything I hear from anyone. The only one I believe in this entire world is myself. I'm the only one who knows the truth about myself, okay? So when something is concerning me, I have to go to great lengths to get good information on, so that if I'm going to speak on it, whatever topic it is that might be concerning me, I mean, I have to go to great lengths to get the right information, because there's just, almost 100% of it out there is propaganda. And I'm not just talking about the mainstream media, because now everybody's jumping on the, fuck the mainstream media bandwagon, which I've been trying to tell you since 2006. Everybody's jumping on that bandwagon. They're going to these other people on YouTube and Rumble and stuff like that, who are also mainstream media people, who just claim to be, not mainstream. The only podcast that I can speak for that is at least honest in their own opinions and views is the PBD podcast, Patrick Bet-David's podcast. And Charlie LaDuff. There's two podcasts. Charlie LaDuff out of Detroit, the No Bullshit News Hour, and PBD's podcast. Charlie LaDuff is going to give you the correct information on whatever he's talking about. He will 100%, he will give you the correct information. And if he accidentally, by some chance, gave you the wrong information, he's going to go to great lengths to make sure you know that it was a mistake and here's the right information. He's never given the wrong information as far as I know. But I know he will go to great lengths to correct it, unlike any other media outlet. The PBD podcast, Patrick Bet-David's podcast, they are, they have their own opinions. They stand behind them. He doesn't take funding from anybody. He's turned down millions and millions of dollars. Charlie LaDuff has turned down millions of dollars. Because it's not that they're not going to take funding at some point, but they're going to take funding from people that they want to take it from, the people that they support. They're not going to take it from, Rupert Murdoch or whoever runs all the mainstream stuff these days. I know that name, Rupert Murdoch. So, when you're listening to these podcasts and whatnot, and you think, hey man, this guy's really good, just make sure you're aware of who's funding these guys, especially if they have a larger channel or a larger following. Usually that means they're being funded, because without that type of funding they wouldn't have a large following. PBD has done his podcast, basically a word of mouth and his own advertising. He uses his own money. Same thing with Charlie LaDuff. He doesn't have any money, but whatever he has goes into his podcast, so, he's great. He does national news stories, but, of course, being right here in the city, he does a lot of stories on Detroit, and they are very, very good stories. He does a lot of stories on Michigan, He does stories on what he knows about, He can't speak for that other stuff. If you don't know about it, if you're not in the middle of it, you really can't speak on it. That's why I tell you, if I'm going to speak on a topic, I make sure I get the correct information on it, because I don't want to pass along, everybody's parroting information these days. They hear something, they hear some funny hook or line, and they parrot it to the next person, parrot it to the next person, and it's all propaganda. All of it. It's American propaganda. So beware of propaganda, and beware whether you are in stereo or mono, because you are likely, even in your stereo car, you are likely listening to your music mono. Beware your downloads are downloaded in stereo and not mono. Unless that's all you do is listen to on your one speaker, you know, because everybody has their little Bluetooth speaker, right? Makes sense that it would be in mono. It would sound right in mono. It wouldn't sound as good in stereo. But the same thing happens the other way around. When you put something in mono through a stereo system, it sounds different. You don't hear certain stuff and whatnot. So that's my message for today. Stereo is dead. Mono is back. That's like saying, dude, digital is out. Fucking tubes are back. Which they kind of are when it comes to the guitar community. Nothing like a great tube amp, man. And that goes for, I'm building a stereo, a home stereo with stereo tube amplifier. It's gonna be fucking loud, man. I don't know if I showed you guys my PA. Dude, I got the loudest PA in fucking Detroit for sure, by a long shot. And it's a tube, because it's a tube PA. I mean, I don't even know how many watts it is. I guess it's stereo. It's got two different stereo amplifiers. I'm probably about maybe 600 watts, maybe total. I mean, it's loud. So think about your 100-watt guitar amplifier, and so I'm 600 watts. So it's really loud, really, and it's crystal clear. You know, I don't know why it sounds so good through those damn tubes. You would think digital would sound just as good, because they can do it. They've proved to us they can do it. They've come out with the Boss Katana amplifier. They've come out with all the different, the Helix and all. They can get really close with that stuff. Why can't they get close with your home and car audio, you know? Car audio today sucks, man. I'm gonna have to pay a fortune to upgrade my car audio in this truck, because there's just so much garbage out there. I mean, just so much garbage. So my options are either go buy the old stuff that I know what it is and what it's capable of, or buy really expensive new stuff, because I'd say 85% of it that's out there right now is just garbage. I mean, and I'm just talking about even just the numbers, man. 1,000-watt amplifier for your car. They got these Class D amplifiers, which are a really good idea because they're very small, they're very efficient, but they, okay, a 1,000-watt amplifier, and then you look at the RMS value, and it's like 500 watts at 1 ohm, for like, and that's what everything's going to now, is for subwoofers. These amplifiers are going down to a 1 ohm load. So then it's like 500 watts at 1 ohm, 350 watts at 2 ohm, and 150 watts at 4 ohm. So your 1,000-watt amplifier just turned into a 150-watt amplifier. I mean, that is ridiculous. They've been doing this for decades now. And, we can go over that again someday if you guys are interested, about, what to look for when purchasing an amplifier and what to look for when purchasing speakers. We can go through that again if you guys are interested. In fact, maybe we will, because I'm about to upgrade this system in this truck. Not crazy. I just want to upgrade it a little bit just so it sounds good. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to spend some money. Another guy that's pretty good with car audio is Eric C. He and I talk back and forth about stuff. But yeah, when it comes to speakers, the SPL value is the only thing you're interested in. You want to get something over 100 dB. Don't worry about the wattage. Just worry about, the SPL rating. So, like the subwoofer I'm going to put in this is, it's actually an Electro Voice subwoofer. And it's rated at 129 dB. So like that's a quality speaker. 85 to 95 dB or 85 to 92 dB. That's your basic garbage that everybody sells. Doesn't matter what brand name's on it. It's all about the SPL rating. And then as far as amplifiers go, you know, you always double the wattage, you know. So if you want to put 500 watts into this subwoofer, let's say this subwoofer is a 500 watt subwoofer, you're going to want 1,000 watts. It doesn't mean you're going to use all that. It just means you're going to have a lot of headroom. You know, you're of course not going to use all of it. You don't want to blow up your subwoofer, but you want it to be crystal clear. Like when I do my subwoofers, I've always been known for crystal clear subwoofers. My subwoofers don't, you know, like everybody else's garbage. That shit's clean, man. Doom, 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 doom. And people have always been like, holy shit, man. You know, I started fiddling with American-based subwoofers back when they were a nobody company in the 90s. And they were great back then. And they're great now. But only their higher echelon stuff is great. It used to all be the same stuff, but now they've got like they've got their higher echelon stuff, and then it goes down from there. Basically, only their higher echelon stuff is any good anymore. I mean, it's for you, it might be great, you know, it's fine. I mean, it's really loud and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm talking about high quality audio. So as far as high quality subwoofers, their higher echelon stuff is great. And then there's the rest of it. And it's all good too. It's just not as high quality. It's not, the SPL rating again is not as high. And it's not gonna give, you know, it's really, you know, all in what you want. You know, it's not up to me. It's about what you want to hear in your car or what you want to hear in your home. I like to hear crystal clear, as perfectly reproduced sound as possible. You know, when I was coming up, that's when the CD came out, and the CD reproduces the sound perfectly, although there is an error in it that you would think they would have corrected, but there was actually an error in it. Neil Young used to talk about it. Was it Neil Young? Might have been Neil Young. Anyway, one of those guys was talking about that when they built this stuff, there's actually an error in the software that could have been better. So anyway, I think I'm winded. I think I got a burp. Oh, that's not the burp I was looking for. All right, y'all. Till next time. Peace out.